Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. Welcome to another episode. Today, I have an interview with Nicolle from POParazzi Balloons. She is located in New York and does celebrity balloon installations. She works with high-end event planners, and she has been in business for 13 years. So it was really fun talking to a veteran about competition, about growth, about continuous learning, and you are going to fall in love with Nicolle just like I did. So let's take a quick break to hear from a sponsor and then get right into this interview.
Are you looking to add grab-and-go garlands to your website so that you can increase revenue and send those clients somewhere when you're already booked for a date? If so, my name is Jeff. I'm with BalloonSuite.com, and my team specializes in online marketing for balloon decor businesses. We can help you get that grab-and-go garland flow set up exactly the way that we see working with many, many other businesses. You can learn more about what we do and reach out at BalloonSuite.com.
Hello, Nicolle. Thank you for taking time to be on our episode. I'm so excited to have you here. And like every episode with a guest, let's kick it off with an introduction. Tell us about your business and where you're located.
Thank you, Sarah. And I'm happy to be here. I am based out of New York. My company is POParazzi Balloons, and we started about 2011. And we service New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania. I think that's about it.
So what is the scale of your business? Is it you? Is it 1 million employees? What does that look like?
So I have about 2 full-time employees, which is, well, I wouldn't say full-time, but I mean, I could pretty much count on them for every assignment that we have. One is in the capacity of a driver, a
Okay.
delivery person, someone that collects supplies and gets a lot of our things from one place to the other. And the other one is sort of an assistant to me. And I could pretty much rely on her outside of, family things or anything like that. I could pretty much consider her to be on site for just about every installation.
Very cool. And then, so what is your role in the business on like a day-to-day basis?
Okay, so I'm pretty much everything right now. So I field all of the emails and the Instagram inquiries, which I try to keep that to a minimum because it's just too hard to keep up.
Yeah.
And try to force every inquiry through the website for the form. And so I take care of that. I pretty much come up with the designs. I take care of a lot of the ordering of supplies. Um, and then I have, like I said, I have one person that's like a lead assistant, and then I have some other people that I can call on for help on larger setups.
Very cool. So I'm scrolling your Instagram. It's full of celebrities. It's full of ginormous installations, but you've been in business for a long time. So can you remember at the beginning and kind of what was that progression? Because I feel like people who are just starting out, or even like 5 or 6 years in, you might not still be at the level that I'm seeing on, in your portfolio. How long did it take before you started getting those big jobs? What did it take? What did that look like? Just kind of give us a basic timeline of your growth.
Okay. So I can say that a lot of my bigger installations came from working with planners
Okay.
that take on larger installations, larger events. So I think I was kind of forced into that growth, I
Mm,
would say at some point, because I worked with a planner who did everything big and
okay.
continues to do everything on a very, very large scale. So it kind of forced me into a zone that I didn't think I was ready for, but I did embrace it once I was there. And I kind of just grew with it. So I can say that sometimes it depends on your company and who you're working with at the time, because they will
Yeah.
force you into a realm that you may not have gone into. You may have gone into it, but maybe not as quickly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what is has have you seen the style change? Like from 10 years ago, well, I guess 12, 13 years
Mhm.
ago, was organic as popular as it is now? Because I'm only like 6 years in, and I feel like I've seen it change in 6 years. So what have you seen in
Absolutely,
10?
absolutely. I feel like it's funny that you say that because I don't think people that were in the industry prior to organics were really ready for organics.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of the veterans, they didn't really embrace it. They felt like, oh, anybody could do it. It's not, they didn't really, I don't feel like they respected it as a form, an art form within ballooning. And they were really stuck on precision, sizing, and structure when it comes to designs. So when they saw organics, they viewed it as like a mess.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Like they viewed it as, oh, this doesn't take any skill. You can be any DIY mom and you can do an organic garland. And I think with the progression of organics and how it really changed the how it really changed balloons and where they were accepted, because like a lot of corporate, a lot of weddings and stuff like that, whereas they would have viewed simple arches and spiral columns as kid party decor.
Yeah.
And then with organics, I think it really like opened the doors to a lot of grown up events, I would say.
I agree. And I think I mean even when I got married, I don't even know, 12 years ago,
Hmm.
I would have never thought of balloons. Like gross,
Absolutely.
cheap,
Yeah.
tacky. Because all I
Mhm.
knew was like a balloon arch that you'd
Right.
see on,
Right.
TV at like a carnival or something. If
Hmm.
I had, I mean, thank God that organic wasn't around because I would have probably spent, I would have spent all my money on balloons.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I would have never considered wedding balloons before organic.
Hmm.
So I like that. I like that you said you respect it as an art form. I mean, you clearly know how to do it really,
Hmm.
really well.
Thank you.
Do you think there's still that need to have that not traditional,
Mhm.
classic background, like that structure does matter? Or do you think if someone only does organic, that's fine?
Well, I mean, it depends on their customer base. I find that I do a lot of both. I like to build, and with certain structures and certain designs, sizing is important. So I kind of like that I do both, and
Mm-hmm.
that my customers that are like the schools, graduations and stuff like that, they're still into the spirals. You know
Yeah,
what I
and so
mean?
am I. Like
Yeah.
I love a good spiral arch. I know I'm not. It's not a popular opinion, but like I don't
Right.
know. When it's perfect, I think it just looks so
Right.
nice.
And I find that I use a lot of spiral to be the base for certain organic designs.
Oh, interesting.
Sometimes, depending on how large you're going to make something, to create that first level with like a structured piece, and then to organically, grow off of that, that helps a lot. So sometimes I think it's important to be able to do both.
Yeah, and I more and more I have been kind of like melding them together. Like I
Right.
do the freestanding like circle frame.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And everyone wants it organic, but I have actually found that I prefer when it's all sized, like the base,
Mm-hmm.
like you just said, it's totally sized. All the 11
Mm-hmm.
inches are the same. Then you go in and add all those little
There
clustered.
you go.
I feel like it keeps it denser. Sometimes when you're adding all those 16 inches and it does get messy looking.
It does, and it also, it's not as strong. It's not as
Mhm.
strong, like you said. So to have it more dense at the foundation, and then add all of your organic embellishments, I think helps a lot to keep it where you want it to stay.
Very cool.
Mhm.
Well, I just a couple weeks ago talked to Jam, who
Mhm.
is Garden Place Balloons. Do you know him? Are
I
you?
do, I do. I know Jam very well.
Yeah. So one of the
Mhm.
questions that I had for him, and I'm interested what your take is, it's like, how do you work in the city? Like I was just in New York and I cannot comprehend. Do you do on-site installations? Are you trucking things in? Like, what does that look like?
So depending on how much time I have, I'd like to pre-inflate.
Okay.
Even if it's just a base, I like to pre-inflate. I like to walk, depending on, sometimes you go into these buildings and you're forced to use the front entrance. So you have to kind of have things, whereas you're just not creating such chaos in the
Yeah.
lobbies of certain buildings. So, and then the people are looking at you like you're crazy, like, where are you going with all of this stuff you can't even see in front of you? So I try, it's all about the planning, really. Like, I'm from New York, so I'm accustomed to the traffic, and it's what we know. So, we kind of work around it. We got to allow for time. A lot of times, like I said, one of my employees is a driver, so a lot of times I would have him to show up with the truck, and then I'll come with a car that's easier for me to put inside of a garage, and then I could leave that car there, and he'll basically come, drop everything off, and then he has to leave.
Very smart. And I think that's actually a really interesting model for
Mhm.
anywhere, not necessarily even the city. Like I think there are some people that don't have a van, don't want to park. They like that
Right.
is an option to hire a driver and meet them
Mhm.
there and then just drive your car. That's a great tip.
Right, right, right. So I mean, and I do that. I do that a lot. If it's a place that doesn't allow for us to come in with so many balloons that are already inflated, then we just allot the time to be able to inflate on site.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, so your work is, I mean, it's stunning. And you said the scale of that is largely due to working with event planners. Is that also where you credit getting some of these higher end, almost celebrity clients? Are those all from the planners as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. There are times when someone will reach out to me for balloons, and I think it's due to the exposure that I've gotten from working with these planners. That
Hmm.
they have this celebrity clientele, so, and a lot of them choose to work with the people that they're most comfortable with. So they'll usually call on the same people if it's convenient.
Yeah.
So I do. I can't say that I have this magical formula for getting a celebrity client, because I don't. I've just been fortunate enough to work with some,
Can
and
you tell us who? Can you drop some names? Who are some of your favorite?
so we've worked with Cardi B.
Okay.
We've worked with uh Tracy Morgan. We've worked with, most recently, we did a beautiful, beautiful birthday party for Mary J. Blige at
Okay.
Cipriani in New York. And Cipriani is the place where you need nothing. It's so beautiful to begin with that anything you do is just like a plus, because
Oh, very the icing on the
it's
cake.
such a nice place. It's such a nice place to begin with. So yeah, those are just a few.
Are you ever interacting with are you ever there? Do you ever meet them? Are you like not allowed to speak to them? Like what is
Well,
that? What is that
I'm
like?
kind of like in work mode whenever, and I'm big on making people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't want to make someone that's a celebrity feel like they have a fan in their house or working. So
Right.
it's really important for me to let them know that, we respect their privacy, and it's all about the balloons when I'm there, and making sure that they're happy with that. And then I feel like, it's a nice feeling to be in their presence, don't get me wrong, but I don't really interact that much.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then what does that ever put limitations on photos that you can share? Do you ask? Do you get those
Usually,
from the planner?
well, it depends. Yeah, I'm basically led by the planner. And
Okay.
if there are any like NDAs or anything that's required before we go to work, then of course you have to respect that. But yeah, if I'm in someone's home, I'm probably not going to take pictures, just because it's their home.
Mhm.
Um, and then if we do take pictures, if we are allowed, then that's just like sticking to the decor.
Yeah. Very
Mhm.
cool. All right.
Mhm.
Let's take a break. And then I want to ask you more about like having a long career because many of the people that I've interviewed on the podcast have been around for a handful of years. And I'm curious what things look like after 12. What is it? I keep saying the wrong. Is it 12 years?
Yeah, at my wedding. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
13. Going on
That's I mean
13.
that's a long time and a
Mhm.
lot changes. So let's take a
Yeah.
break and then talk about that. The slow winter months are finally over, and people are starting to plan for their spring and summer parties, which means I am loading up on my balloon inventory. And I am heading to Having a Party Wholesale for my shopping. They do such a good job at making it easy to purchase, they have fast shipping, and they really take care of us as a balloon professional community. So, next time you need to place an order, head over to havingaparty.com to check out all of the latest colors and inventory in stock. All right, welcome back. Let's chat about what 13 years in business looks like. Obviously, lots of changes, lots of shifts in style, but the thing that I'm wondering is do you ever get to the point where you're like a hairdresser where you're just not even taking new clients? Like you have your clients and you're needing to be available to serve them, or has it just been as much growth as possible? What has been your strategy?
Hmm. Well, I would say that I'm big on relationships. And if there's a relationship that I have with someone that spanned over the years, then they're going to be my priority. But I'm never not going to use an opportunity to work with someone new. So,
Okay.
and I don't want, a lot of times when people see that you work with a specific planner, they feel as though you wouldn't work with them. And,
Mm,
for new planners, I just want it to be known that I am not opposed to working with someone that's just starting out and kind of trying to feel their way. If there's some way that I could help them, based on what I've seen and, based on the work that I've done, then I'm always willing to do that.
yeah, that's great. And you're so easy to talk to. Like that's the thing
Mhm.
I'm gaining from it. You're so easy to talk to. Do you talk to people to build that relationship, or are you all email based?
I try to talk to people as much as I can. Sometimes it's just just a matter of sometimes just going back and forth on emails. It just becomes tiresome after a while,
Hmm.
especially when you feel as though you can't get certain um points across. So,
Right.
I have like little blurbs that I kind of send out because you find yourself saying the same thing over and
Exactly.
over, especially when it comes to garlands. Like people don't understand. You have to know how you're going to support them. You have to look at the room. Sometimes we could see like a sconce on a wall or something that they wouldn't notice. So there's certain times when I do have different screenshots of information that I would send them just so that I'm not saying the same things over and over again. But if someone wants to jump on the phone and talk a while, I'm willing to do that. But my rule of thumb is always that they have to follow up with this conversation with something in writing
Okay.
because it works for me because I'm not going to remember
Yeah.
spoke about on the phone. And so I don't want it to come across as though I'm being impersonal, like not wanting to talk on the phone, but I stress the importance of having things in writing because it's my backup also.
Yeah,
After, if
absolutely.
things don't go according to the way, or if something comes up, after the job is done or during the job, then that's something that I can refer to,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know.
I do that too. I kind of push it more on the front end. Like I
Mhm.
say I'm happy to hop on the call, but like fill out this form first so I have any idea what we're talking about. Cuz sometimes
Right,
people want to hop on the call and like I'm not available for that date. And all of
right,
a sudden I've helped them plan this event that like I can't
right.
even do.
Right. And then you're like, wait a minute, what's the date again? And then you're
Yeah,
like, well, no, I'm not here then.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
So,
I totally get it.
do you still market? Do you go out of your way to market or is the business just there for you?
I try. I try to market. I wouldn't say I go out of my way to do it.
Mhm.
I don't do it as aggressively as I did when I was first starting because I just don't have the time.
Yeah, right.
I don't. But but I'm not against it. It's just, and if someone came up to me with something like that's new, like, hey, try doing this, it could reach a different market, then I'm willing to do it, but I don't research those type of things. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
I
I
think that's
feel
pretty
like I'm fixing
typical.
your podcast to tell me what to do.
Oh my gosh, I just got off another interview that was about sales, and
Yeah.
that one I'm super motivated because I've always been I've kind of always been on the defense because I just gotta wait and see who wants to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
now that I've left my job, it's like, ooh, maybe I need to go on the offense and actually go after some of these people. So
Right.
I'm much more curious about what marketing looks like and sales ideas and
Mm-hmm.
all of that. But I think a lot of people who have been around for, I don't know, more than 10 years, the business is kind of there. It kind of supports them. So I think it's hard to be that hungry for new work when you have enough easy recurring work that kind of sustains you through the years. Another thing that I was curious about is if you have a minimum and what scale events you won't consider.
Okay. I'd like to say that I don't have a minimum, but I think we all have a minimum.
Yeah.
Because there's just certain things that wouldn't be worth it for me. And I'm open to referring those things to other artists if I feel as though they would benefit from it. So I wouldn't say, I mean, to go into Manhattan, I would probably say that, mm, I would probably say it was somewhere around 1,000,
Yeah. I
you
think
know?
that seems nice. I'd be
Yeah.
like 10,000 and then I still
Yeah.
wouldn't go.
I mean, just to make it, worth all that it entails, you know.
Mhm.
And then I always factor in like things like parking. Like if I do have to park, I always factor parking and things like that into my delivery and setup
Yeah.
fee. You know.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so do you only do events or do you do any like deliveries? Does your driver do
Oh no, no.
drop-offs?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like the occasional bouquet,
Okay.
I mean, because it just, it really makes people happy. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you have your events and stuff, but then you have that grandmother that calls you and is like, I want to send my granddaughter a unicorn and a number. And sometimes you're like, okay, but I mean, you think about it, and then and then sometimes I've done these deliveries myself, just depending on how close it is or whatever. So I don't always call the driver in for everything.
Okay.
I mean that they're so happy, like they're so like just to be able to especially if it's something that's already in my workshop. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
A lot of times, like if I do like smaller arrangements like that, it'll be because it's super convenient for me to just grab the supplies and take care of it.
And sometimes it's a nice way to kind of liquidate some of those supplies. Like, I have two of these
Absolutely.
unicorn balloons. Whatever am I going to use them
Right,
for?
right. Because I buy a lot of extras. So,
Mm-hmm.
just because I can't function, I can't function at an installation if I have just the right amount of numbers. Like I have
Right.
to have some, because balloons are temperamental. So
Yeah.
sometimes they just don't agree with us. So, uh,
Absolutely. Okay.
yeah.
I have one more topic I want to talk about. I'm totally putting
Mhm.
you on the spot,
Oh.
but I am curious how you have reacted to competition. Is there really enough to go around? Do people ever come into your area and you're like, no, no, no. You've obviously survived COVID. Like you said, so
Mhm.
many people became balloon artists over COVID. How have you weathered that storm? Has it impacted you? Are you supporting others? Like, what does that actually look like?
I mean, I don't think that I've ever felt intimidated by competition. You know what I mean? And it's because I love to do balloons, and I would naturally gravitate towards anyone who loves what I love to do. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because and that's why I don't really understand when people are are kind of standoffish. There's
Yeah.
times when I've been in a balloon store before, and people are like side eyeing you, and And I'm just like, you know what? I can't talk to my husband about balloons. Like he understands, but he doesn't have the compassion that I do. So I've always enjoyed being around people who like the same things that I like. So it's never been a problem for me. I've worked on assignments before where they hired certain balloon artists to do certain things.
Okay.
It's never been a problem for me. I just don't understand that part. But,
Yeah.
and I feel like I'm helpful to anyone that may ask me a question or need some advice. And I really feel like there is enough to go around, and I don't feel like me helping someone would ever hurt my business in any
Yeah.
way. I just don't think it would.
Yeah. What a good attitude, man. You're awesome. You're just so confident and calm, and
Mhm.
I love that. You're like, yeah,
Mhm.
why would they never negatively impact me? I don't understand.
Yeah,
I love it.
right, right.
Very cool. And do you have a network of local people that you connect with, or do you do more of that connecting at like conventions once a
Mhm.
year, or what does that social aspect look like? Because I agree so much. Like my husband, he will be happy if I never talk about balloons again, but like, I'm in all these chats and I'm like, oh, these girls get what I'm saying, they get what I'm excited about.
Mhm. I mean, I have a couple of balloon artists that I talk to all the time. Actually, some people that are on my team have their own balloon companies. So they're. I mean, I talked to. As a matter of fact, it was so funny that Balloon and Paper, they were here. The company. I mean, I'm sorry. I call everybody by their company
I
name.
know, right? I know what their Instagram little
I
logo looks
don't know,
like,
I
and I know their
her name.
company name.
Yeah, I'm like Balloon and Paper. Her and her husband were here on the East Coast, and we all got together. And it was a weekend where they had work, and it was just so hard because we could never go to the site. But then we all met up at having a party, and it was nice. So we got a chance. I got a chance to meet them in person before they headed back to California. But I reach out. I speak to a lot of different balloon artists, whether it be on the phone or just a quick DM. So we kind of keep in touch that way. So a lot of them, I felt like I knew even before we officially met, like at a convention.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
of my best friends I've met, like, I think I've met them all, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's people in these chats that I don't even remember that I haven't actually met. I feel like I know them so
because you
well.
feel like you know them already. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Oh, that's
So,
nice. Do you feel like you connect better with people who have similar background, like they've been in business
mhm.
as long, they're doing the same caliber of events? Do you feel like that plays a role?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
You're so amazing. I would be like, "Yes."
No, not really.
That is awesome. Oh, excuse me.
It's okay.
I'm fighting a terrible. Everyone in our house has a cold. It's just
I
winter.
feel
Oh my
like
gosh.
it's like the beginning of allergy season here. It doesn't seem like it because it's still cold.
Yeah.
But we've been getting a lot of symptoms already.
Well, speaking of that, in 13 years in business, have you ever been sick? Have you ever not been able to do a job? That's like my worst fear, and it's never happened. Have
Yeah,
you ever not
I've
made it?
I've had one little health scare, and I had a balloon artist to come and stand in for me, and it was like I spent overnight in the hospital, and I first of all I couldn't believe I was in the hospital
Yeah.
because I had never been in the hospital other than to have a child, so I was like, what am I doing here? Number one, and then the whole time I'm like worried about the balloons that I have for that weekend, so.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like, I don't have time for this. So I did have one time I remember it was back in 2017, and I had Shanae from Balloons by SB. She just took over, and I mean I've offered my help to someone too that isn't feeling well. If there's something that you have to do, and you just need me to execute it for you, that I'll be here. Because that's what we have to do. We have to be able to help each other.
That's awesome because I feel like there's sometimes a pressure to grow a really large team so that you
Mhm,
can cover all of those emergencies in-house. But I
mhm.
really like that idea of just like making a couple friends in your area that could bail you out in
Yeah.
a pinch. Or like not even when you're sick. I have one coming up where it's like a what is it? Special Olympics, and
Mhm.
they have multiple locations and they're like 2 hours apart, so I can't possibly be in
Be
both
every
places
place,
at
right.
once. So that's
one of those times where having connections in your area is like
Hmm.
super beneficial because
Yeah.
sometimes you can actually make money on those events. You know, you're not just always handing over the event. Sometimes you're subcontracting out and
Right.
still
And they're
benefiting.
benefiting and you're still benefiting from it as well. And I'm a firm believer in that too. Like if you could pass it on to someone, but your company will still benefit from it, then that's really the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, what is coming up for you? Do you have any exciting installations, events? Where can we meet you in real life?
I have a pretty nice, a pretty good party that I'm excited about coming up this Saturday. It's not. I don't even know who the client is, to be honest with you, because sometimes I'm just so concerned with the job and what needs to be done that I don't. Some people will ask me, "Oh, well, what is this coming up? What kind of an event is it? It is a baby shower, a birthday party?" I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
sometimes I don't know what it is. I just know, what I have to do for it. But so I'm pretty excited about that. It's involving like rainbows and daisies and all kind of things like that. So it's a little exciting for me because they're using like a different color palette, not the typical color palette. So
that's so cool that you still just get excited by like
yeah,
installs, you know? Like you think after a while you're just like, "Well, I've seen it all," but
yeah, sometimes, and then sometimes I think it's because I think I'm really like attracted to people that decide to do things differently, and not
yeah.
the same old thing sometimes if I'm looking at balloons and they decided to do like it could be like an astronaut theme or even like a licensed character, but they decided to take a turn with the colors, like that's exciting to me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Oh, I did have one more question I wanted to ask,
Hmm.
and that is about your education. Like,
Hmm.
what have been your go-to conventions, or how have you learned along the way? Are you, like, mostly
Hmm.
self-taught, or what do you recommend to people starting out? Because I think education is important, but
Hmm.
expensive, and I think if you don't plan for it, there's always gonna be a reason not to go to things, but I know we've met at Float, so I'm assuming you go to conventions. What have you taken the time to go to, like, in
So
person?
Right. When I first started, believe it or not, I was looking for balloon instruction. Well, first of all, let me just say balloons are a second career for me. I am retired law enforcement. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so when I first thought about actually learning to do balloons, I couldn't find any instruction in New York.
Okay.
So I ended up going down to Florida, to Tampa, and I took a course. And she offered two types of courses. One was if you were looking to just do balloons for your children and your family and friends, and then there was one course if you were looking to do it as a business. So I took that. It was my first time ever traveling by myself. I spent 5 days down there and it was amazing. And I
Yeah.
came back like really, really like inspired to just start. And I actually did balloons along with my job until between for 4 years because I took the class in 2011 and I didn't retire until 2015.
Okay.
So I kind of juggled both of them, and then I did it full time as of 2015. But I like my first convention was Balloon University,
Okay.
and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I've
That's
gone to float
every 5 years?
three. It might be 3 years.
Okay. It's not very often, and I know
No,
we just
yeah,
had one, and I
right, right.
missed it, and it looked amazing, so I
I
really
did
wanna go next
too.
time.
I did too, and that was an anniversary. I can't remember whether it's 20 or something like that.
Yes.
They really go all out. But I enjoy that one. I had a good time at Float. I've gone to a lot of different classes. I believe in classes. Like, I don't care how much you know. You could always learn a different technique or you're going to always walk away with something like, wow, I didn't know that they did it like that. And it
Yeah.
could be like the same end result, but the process for doing it could be different. And it could be something that you never thought about.
For me, it's always, like, the thing they're not even teaching. It's always like, "Wait, wait, wait.
Yes. Uh
Show
huh.
me what you just did there," and they don't even know that what they're doing is I'm like, "How did you attach that? How did you tie
Right.
that? What did you do?" It's always those
Mhm.
little
Those
takeaways.
little snippets that you leave with. Yep.
Yeah, well, I agree. I stumbled upon in-person training, and
Mhm.
it was like I took with Balloon Coach. They did the parades
So what? Yes.
workshop. Joette did the
Mhm.
workshop in Chicago, and that was like the first time I tied a balloon, and I was so
Mhm.
in over my head. But like, I think the in-person training is why I kind of took off right away because
Right.
it wasn't like, oh, YouTube and then this and then
Right.
Amazon
Oh,
supplies. It was
yeah.
like,
Mhm.
here are the balloons and here's the
Right.
precision air and here's what you do. And so yeah,
Mhm.
I can't say enough about in-person training. And also that's where I meet all my friends. Like that's
Yes.
where I make friends.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very cool.
Mhm.
Do you have any conventions planned in the future? There's not, I mean, Balloon Boss Summit is in November and then Float will be next March.
Right.
Trying to think if
They
there's
have,
anything between then.
they had, I think they have Florida. They have, there's a Tough Techs
Oh
coming up,
yeah,
but
the Tough Techs experience. Yep.
right, I wasn't able to get on board for that. I had some work to do in my home, so I kind of like had to lay off the trips for a while.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll see. We'll see. Whatever. I'm sure that whatever the next thing is that's coming up, I'm definitely going to be there.
I know. I'm starting to get the itch too. I'm like, I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
go. I gotta go somewhere.
Mhm. Yeah,
Oh my
absolutely.
gosh. Well, this has been so great. You're just like, you're so easy to talk to. That's my biggest
Mhm.
takeaway. You're so easy to talk to. I don't find it hard to believe that you
Mhm.
make relationships and make everyone feel comfortable. But
Thank you so
I'm
much.
just so excited to have talked to you.
Same here. Same here.
Congrats on all your success, and we all have a lot to learn from you.
Thank you. Thank you. And continue doing great things with the podcast because I listen all the time.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I'm getting my little notepad, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I got to play that back because I got to write that down.
Oh, thank you. Well, I learn as much as I contribute, so it's
Yeah,
it's so fun learning from everybody because, like you said, everyone has different ways to kind of get the same result, and
absolutely.
that can be a game changer in
Hmm.
our businesses.
Great.
Well, thank you so much. It was so nice to meet
Sarah,
you, and I can't wait to meet you in person one
you
day.
too. You too. Take care.
All right.
Thank you to our presenting sponsor, 17 Hats. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably own a small business or you're hoping to start one. You're tuning in because you want to get better at what you do. Well, here's an easy way to leap forward. Manage your business better with 17 Hats. 17 Hats is a premier management platform for a business of one just like me. In no time with 17 Hats, you can improve how you inbound and evaluate your leads, manage client communication, and automate scheduling, just like I've done with all of my grab-and-go balloon garlands. Client phone calls, sending contracts back and forth via email is all such a time sponge, and 17 Hats lets you regain hours in your day by taking care of all of that for you. So if you're looking to improve, then improve how you do your business. That is the easiest way to make more money. And 17 Hats is the resource that I recommend to manage it all. Get started for free at 17hats.com.